You're listening to Well, I Laughed, Part 3 of A Lover Scorned, listener episode.
I also thought my Instagram story post last night was like so clever and did not get nearly the attraction from the gay men that I needed it to. So that one was funny, but the one right before the audio was the start of super graphic ultra novel that, you know what they say, right? And it's like, and I was like, hello, is this thing on?
Okay. All right. Get closer.
I can always tell when your voice is ready to get started.
Okay.
Because you go, okay, let's get this locked in now.
I'm a little maybe too masked sometimes, but it's fine. Fine. Everything's fine. I'm so tired all the time. Casey and I got into welcome, dear listener. We're still in the era of Maia and Casey moving and Maia and Casey learning in our relationship about how we move and also simultaneously about how we both never want to move again. We got into a little classic spat and
Sure.
I was just vibrating with rage.
I'll say this, y'all seem much happier than a week ago, though.
Oh, we are a lot happier than a week ago because we've actually had a chance to talk through everything. And, so now when we have spats, we can adjust, handle it like we normally would instead of just being well, we're both so busy that if we even look at each other, we're gonna be here for another 5 hours of just talking about what's going on. Anyway, I was just vibrating with rage, and so I went out and sanded a bunch of wood and then stained said wood. 10 out of 10 recommend, because it's not like chopping wood, it's it's also satisfying because you can play around with it a little bit, but it's also not you'd make one wrong move and it's done forever.
Here's a Norman Rockwell story from my childhood about that exactly. Apparently, when we were very young, one summer at work was very just challenging for my father, and he would come home with so much pent up not rage and aggression, but just
energy,
right? That he channeled that into building our jungle gym in the backyard.
10 out of 10.
And
decision.
you should have seen the jungle gym I grew up with. 3.5 stories,
we're
multiple
about to have
landings.
Hella shelving.
I was so afraid you were about to say a play set back there, and I was like, "Oh my god, what has happened?"
No, oh Jesus, no! Oh God, I'm drinking wine, Grant.
Well, say a glass a day is good for you.
It's not though. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it turns out all those studies about
Wrong.
Right. Well, so wrong and right. So all those studies were in Europe, they drink a glass of wine a day and they live a lot longer.
And it's they have a bunch of other stuff. That's
right. Mainly
to that.
universal healthcare.
Universal
Almost
healthcare
entirely.
and also a lot more walking.
Right.
And a healthier diet.
God, we gotta get back.
We really do. Why does it feel like my hair?
But no, it's good to be here. It's good to be in this presence with you guys. I say this because last week I walked in and I was never ever concerned, but I walked in last week and I was like, oh, I don't know if I could say anything right now.
We're all gonna be real quiet right now. The house is coming together. It just feels like the progress is now a lot slower, which is weird, but it's fine. I'm fine.
Good. I'm glad that you're fine.
Thanks, Grant.
I'm gonna hard pivot now, if that's okay.
Yeah, do it.
Okay. So, couple things. First, we wanted to wish a special shout out to somebody. This is probably gonna come as a surprise to them. But Bella, if you are listening, Landry would like to wish you a happy 1-year anniversary.
So cute. Oh my God.
I'm really hoping that I delivered that well.
And anyway, the screen's going to show you a little question, if you don't mind, Landry.
Let us know. Oh, actually, hold on.
Kidding.
A good. No, you raise an excellent point, though. Forget the other story I was going to share, which is about how cute Griffin's anniversary was with my sister-in-law and how I can't believe it's been a year since I took that great photo. Wow, I got the whole story in. Anyway, so I was at a new bar last night with a friend, right? And it's part of the Fruit Loop on Colfax, of various legitimate friendly bars.
I love the term Fruit Loop for that. That's beautiful. That's really good.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And their suggested tip screen was 25, 30, 35.
30?
Uh-huh. The lowest option was 25.
25?
Yeah.
I've seen the lowest option being 20.
Right.
I haven't seen the lowest option being 25.
Do you know how furious I have to be when gin and tonic in hand, I am doing math at a touch screen?
Yeah, because then you have to like enter your own thing.
Yes,
so,
you have to
it's
click
either
other.
no tip or other. You can't say no tip because then they're going to like spit in your next drink.
Correct. Or at a gay bar, just flat out not serve you anymore.
Just like ignore you. Yeah.
Like you think you're the only one who wants a gin and tonic here?
Yeah. At this college bar near my college, we would have pint night. And so it was like $2 a drink. And I would go and I would frequently, I don't think they had tabs at the time, or maybe they did. I'm not sure. Whatever. What I would do is I would tip a bunch like every other drink or something, because it's like if you go to the same bar, it's usually the same person, and so I would like tip like 50% or like even 100% on like a $2 tab, right?
Okay.
And just like assume that they would kind of get the gist. One time the guy pushed the pen and receipt back to me and said, "The tip's not included." And I was like, I know. Like, what? Get out. That bartender, I have a lot of problems with. He was such an ass. Anyway.
There's nothing like a local watering hole and you hate one of the employees and they hate you.
I think he just hated everyone, quite honestly. I think he was probably rooting for an end to pint night, but I think an end to pint night would then be the end of that bar.
Yeah, 100%.
So.
Like, I hate places that don't understand their purpose. I went to a bar and when I was in college that did 325 Long Island iced teas. Yeah.
That's a problem. That should be illegal, I think.
And it's in 2015, so we were mainly paying with like pretty rocks and like stories from lore. You know, it was that long ago. But yeah, and also no one ever talks about this enough. But all of us just had like debit cards essentially.
Yeah.
And so instead we're paying in cash, which just means you have like so many quarters at the end of the night, because you slide them like a 5 or whatever or a 10. You're still getting back 3 quarters as they round up to the closest dollar. Yeah. Right. And so then you're like, I'm giving them whole dollars.
Yeah.
And in my like bag of doubloons, it's just like, hard evidence of how many Long Islands
when we were in Vancouver, when we were going into that night market, we had to pay in cash, right?
Yes.
I paid her in cash and then gave her coins for like the change amount.
Right.
But the amount of cash, it was like, let's say it was like $3.50, and I gave her $4.50, hoping she would just give me back $1.
Right.
She gave me back she gave me back the quarters I gave her, and then more change for the other stuff. And I was like, "Did you just? Are you?"
No, I think what you're describing
kidding me?
is actually a very specific American trait.
Yeah.
Because in our country, coins don't mean anything other than like a rage-inducing inconvenience.
It's true, but they have like a $2 coin or something.
Yes, they have a $1 coin and a $2 coin. And
the
do you know
$2
who
coin
else
doesn't make sense.
The Eurozone. I'm like, what am I supposed? Like, do I need a little purple velvet sack? You know,
what
and
am I
a
doing
donkey?
with this?
I'm not Don Quixote. Okay, I'm not. What is this?
My fortune should not come in coins.
Listen, I came here to live in a walkable neighborhood and take little trains everywhere, but I wasn't here to cosplay early 20th century monetary policy. Okay?
I will say, the Europeans did figure out Apple Pay before the Americans did. They had it all figured out. Where it was
get
like,
back to me when they figured out universal air conditioning.
They did figure out universal healthcare, so I think they do actually one up us on that. It's fine. I'm fine.
It's good. I'm feeling really good about the number of credit card points though I have right now, though. That's going really well.
Get a little closer. You're fading in and out
like
again.
This better? Yeah. Should I shave the beard a little bit?
Just like constantly.
It's probably a good thing that
on mic.
We don't share mics anymore.
Mm-hmm. I don't really know if this comes off or not. I don't care.
Good. No, but for reals, I have been paying all of my college tuition on my credit card, and then immediately the credit card gets paid off. Like that's
Danny had a lot of concerns when this was brought up.
So many concerns, and I was like,
he's like, don't let the interest eat up your credit card points, and I was like, I don't think that's the point.
It was actually so endearing, just like so dad folksy, and I wanted to be like, Danny, you have a roommate, and yet no art on your walls. Do not lecture me about finances.
Don't talk to me about bare walls right now.
Yeah, should we talk about the last thing that I waited in, or no?
No.
Okay. Buckets or bins mean something. That's all I'm trying to say.
Listen, We also need to start decorating.
I have actually
here.
a plan. I have something that I'm
Jesus
not for
Christ.
the entire wall, of course.
You want to know what Paul's
There's gonna
suggestion
be
was?
one-
Casey's dad?
Go ahead.
A green screen.
Then we could really just be the bold and the beautiful.
I was like, yeah, sure. What's your plan? Are you going to tell me?
Oh,
or
it's
is
going to
it
be a
just gonna
surprise.
happen?
No, it's going to be a
How
surprise.
is it going to be a surprise? You're just going to bring it over? Or
Right,
I'm just
the
going to
thing-
walk in one time
the
and
thing
it's going to be done?
I'm going to be like, I was tired of there nothing. Like,
Yeah.
No, the thing I'm going to bring you, I think you're going to love.
Okay.
And that's going to be a surprise.
Okay, cool. I need to get some of our fan art printed. If you have ever been like, damn, I really want to make fan art of Maia and Grant, now's the time. 'Cause I have a gallery wall to make.
We have a
Just
couple
saying.
of different blank walls to do.
Yeah, we do. It's fine. I'm fine. I don't know how we're
Good.
going to hang stuff lower because it's concrete. Command strips, probably. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm so tired.
Listen, at no point did she say anything I disagreed with, but I was like, I've never she doesn't get going like this for a while. Where is this going to go?
I was talking to Casey and we were like having a serious conversation, but there was a couple of times where even I was talking and I was like, Maya, what are you saying?
And I was like, I don't even know if this is actually quality content that
It's
we're capturing
not.
right now.
I'm
but
sure
I think
it's
this
not.
is good for us to get out of our system.
No, I think I probably should just like shut up and drink some more wine and hope that it like fixes my brain chemistry or something for the next 20 minutes.
Here's how I know.
God damn.
I am the Punxsutawney Phil of fall, and that's it. I'm not going to explain.
You're the Punxsutawney Phil of gay pride. I'm
Thank you.
actually pretty sure.
That is actually
Yeah.
so true. Like March 5th, I'm like, okay, y'all, before it's too late, let's go ahead and start
Let's
nailing
see.
something
Yeah.
down. No, like I increasingly am finding myself wanting a glass of wine more than I want a cocktail. And I think that's how you know the first leaf is about to like fall
That's
to the
true,
ground,
yeah.
you know? I just want like a chilled red and a roasted meat. I know.
Oh,
I
Lee
know.
and I's mead should probably be ready around
Oh,
now.
shut
Our blue.
What?
Lee and I made mead together. Lee makes mead. That's his thing now.
No, I'm sorry. Okay, so there's actually a couple things now that I'm saying. First, the watching it click on your face that your mead is probably ready. That was worth it. Second, and you know I love Lee, unabashedly, you might be the only person we've ever mentioned on this podcast that I've never actually said anything mean about. But he is, and now it's going to change. He is not one to necessarily like stick with a
text him
hobby.
about my mead.
You know, like he's the person to like pick up a hobby and like kind of experiment with a little bit,
bottles,
but then
now.
kind of like roll on to the next hobby,
He
and
has
that's what makes
ADHD
him
like
so.
me, yeah.
I was gonna say that's what makes him eccentric.
Yes.
Talk to me about this mead.
Hello. Hi. Mead? Question mark.
Coming real time.
Send.
And then in parentheses, I desperately need "we're on air."
Yeah. Okay, well. Parentheses, we're on air, Grant. Yeah, so he has been making a couple batches of mead before we made our mead, which happened in like the spring-ish.
Okay.
And so I came over and I've been wanting, that's been one of the hobbies that just hasn't happened because of the podcast.
Right.
Honestly, my wallet is probably actually really lucky that the podcast started because the amount of hobbies I would have started in the last year and a half could have bankrupted me.
And to be clear, we're not rolling in it. It's just kind of forced
Well,
her
it's
to focus on one
also
thing.
now the podcast has its own money, so whenever I have to update stuff, it's not my own money. But mead is one of those things that I wanted to get into, and so he was like, "Well, we can make a batch together," and so we made a batch, and it is blackberry mead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we tested it, and it actually has like a pretty high alcohol content for mead.
One would hope it's mead.
Yeah. Well, you can like predict how much alcohol is going to be in it based off the sugar content when you first make it, and we haven't actually checked on it since then. So, yeah, we're both engineers. What do you want?
Some of the mead.
All right, then don't call us nerds.
I think I'm going to probably continue to, but I want to taste
really
the mead. I want to
excited,
find out.
yeah.
I
gonna
like
bottle
a
it.
shockingly spacious crawl space. So.
We could make a lot of mead. We could actually make a side business.
What?
We would need an alcohol license actually, so maybe let's not. But we could make mead for us for the podcast.
There's something like, we're gonna call ourselves MGM, Maia Grant Mead. Boom, baby! I'm an ideas man before I'm anything else.
You had so many options other than Maia Grant mead. Maya and Grant's mead.
Wait, is MGM already trademarked or something? Or can
No, MWM is, though.
WWWD-MGM. What would Walter Wanderell do with Maya Grant mead? If you didn't hear...
Grant's gonna die, y'all.
Oh, who knows? Who knows?
We're both in a weird place. It's really strange.
I got one night of bad sleep, and it has impacted me the next 3 days. I don't want this next part to be
That's fine. Oh my God.
Sometimes you got to really get after it. Sometimes you got to run at it.
What the fuck? I don't even know how to keep that in the podcast without making people like unwell, but I feel like I can't not.
Like if I just keep being dainty, it's going to stay there. You got to kind of really run at it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
You don't even wake up in the morning going, so you don't know.
I do. I don't until I have to start talking, though. It's like when I log on to my first meeting, and God forbid it's a meeting I have to run, because I'm like, hey, guys, anyway. Sorry, I haven't talked today. Hello.
Hi. What, is it time to be real?
Nope.
What is happening right now? What should I do with my hands?
I just decided to take a video on Instagram.
Nice. So we are in a weird mood right now.
Oh, yeah. I don't know where
great.
I am or who I am or what's going on right now.
Because it's time for a listener story. And then maybe also an Am I the Asshole. We got back to that during a Patreon episode recently. Really kind of liked it.
It was fun.
Do you want first story or do you want me?
I'll do first story before I get too much into my cups.
Before everything overfloweth.
Yes, before my cups overfloweth. Okay. We're going to do the first one you told me about. This is from our friend Hazel. She says, hello friends, my name is Hazel, she, her, and you can use my name on the pod.
Listen, we're naming it and we're praising it. And that's something that I have been told to say like at school before.
Name and praise.
Naming it and praising it.
Yeah.
You got to use the it.
Yeah.
When you put that information in the very first paragraph,
it eliminates our user error.
Correct. And it significantly increases the chance that the story gets read. Because we don't have to because then you're like searching it and then you end up like reading a lot of the story and then it's not a surprise for like the other person to like when they hear it.
Grant's been picking stories for the last couple of weeks.
Right. So I'm trying to like see name and then like, does anyone, nope, doesn't seem too dark. Okay, yep, we're good to go.
Anyway, thank you for letting us know your name and your pronouns. Thanks for normalizing pronouns also. So this story is short, but an absolute wild ride, and I have receipts. Also, no one gets hurt in this story. Thank you.
We can root for them. I don't know if that's what they're saying.
I don't know. Yeah. That's what we say. So this happened when I was 8 years old. I always remembered it as being a wild thing, this wild thing adults talked about, but I never remembered seeing it on the news, but something made me think of it the other day, so I thought I would send it in. If this gets read on the pod, I will 100% cry about it. Okay. I mean, like, do it. It's
good.
Crying's good for you.
It is.
I do it all the time.
All of my allergies recently has had me feel like I've been crying because my face has just been producing so much moisture.
I've been crying and feeling that way with my allergies. The thing today, though,
Sorry, I wasn't done. I haven't done that to you in like 9 months.
The way I almost killed him. I also deluded myself into thinking it's the sawdust from all of the angry sanding I've been doing.
Yeah, okay.
But it's given me that because it has a like stuffed up feeling that I'm like, I'm sick. You know?
Casey,
you whore.
Casey, let me know when a buffet table of Chinese food arrives. I'll be in the fainting couch until then.
in our media room.
So anyway, I have been driving around with that sensation of like, oh, I feel like I've been crying because of the allergies. And so, but then I'll be driving around and I'll be like, oh God, like I'm glad that I cried. What was the cry about? Oh, I haven't cried. It was actually
it's just allergies. Yeah.
It's like
nothing.
Should I be crying soon?
It's your dad. Who is mad at me?
I'm so glad that resonated with you.
Oh, it really
that
did.
My dad saw our silly little hat and he was like, I love the existentialism you two are willing to venture into.
Who is mad at me? Okay, so
second paragraph.
interrupt me one more time, Grant. I swear to God.
It's only the first story.
Yeah, I know. In my hometown, there was a police officer, parentheses, or maybe several, that my mom would always tell me about, saying he would harass the townsfolk. Now, I'm not sure why she was telling an 8-year-old about that, but she also got a couple DUIs because she's like an alcoholic or whatever. Parentheses, very traumatic. It's funny now.
Oh,
you get it.
Okay, yeah, we do.
Yeah,
this
you're
is
gonna
part
get
of the
that
story
from
that
Grant.
I did not read.
Whenever I like start talking about trauma and then I stop, Grant's like, yeah, so I mean...
Also, shout out to your parents for telling you the tea when you were 8 years old, because
Truly.
I had to honestly, the quietest I ever was when I was a child, and I realized adults were saying things only vaguely aware of my presence.
Oh.
My parents nicknamed me the sponge because I would hold on to information.
I don't think my parents realized how much I listened
Yes.
to just everything. I'm an only child. What else is there to listen to?
I think there's a church song called like "Children are watching, children are listening."
It's the song from, or I mean, yes, there probably is that song, but there's a song from Into the Woods that Meryl Streep sings.
To buy the milk, to sell the beans, to marry
one.
the prince,
What? No.
into the woods for the...
There's the one that Meryl Streep sings that's like,
Maleficent.
children will listen. No, that's not the tune. Don't come at me. I can't remember it off the top of my head. I don't have perfect pitch. Anyway,
So your mom is sharing more than she probably should when you're 8. Okay.
and I love that for you. The end of that story is my parents realized that I listen a lot more because they got a crack in their windshield and they were like, well, crap, like that's really inconvenient. And we're like talking about ways to, like, if they should get it fixed right away. And I was like, well, if you go to this such and such a dealership, they'll fix any crack that's smaller than the size of $1 for however much. And they were like, I'm sorry, what? And then like literally maybe like 30 minutes later, that ad played on the radio and they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I remember things. And they were like, oh no.
Maya Warner, Listening and Telling, a tell-all memoir.
I will listen to everything.
My mom had to sit next to me when I got my hair cut so I wouldn't say the family's social security numbers.
My mom had to check my text to make sure I wasn't talking about all of the emotional abuse going on in the household.
My parents were just really hoping I'd have someone to text.
Yeah. My parents were like, please stop.
My parents were like, good, this is good.
Okay. So Hazel's mom is telling her a lot of things.
Ooh, we are in a weird mood today.
This episode is going to be really good for some people, and other people are going to be like, should I keep listening to this podcast?
Very early days when we're like, you know what? I have things to say that I shouldn't.
Yep. Like Hazel's mom. Back to the story. Either way, I guess this one citizen was pulled over so much and ticketed he was arrested for it. So when he made probation, he decided to take matters into his own hands. Classic. He stole a bulldozer from a nearby construction site and he drove it all the way to the police station and drove it into the police station, backed up and smashed into the station. He managed to hit the police station 3 times before being arrested. Luckily, no one was in the station at the time, and the arresting officer just happened to be heading back to the office and saw what happened. Anyway, love you guys. And then there's a news article that she attached.
So the reason why I wanted you to read that one is because were you in Colorado and like watching the news? Like, were you old enough basically when that tank went on a rampage in that Colorado mountain town?
I don't remember it off the top of my head. If I saw like the news articles, I might, but no.
Okay.
They have the news article shows pictures of the bulldozer and the police station.
He said you don't need a front door anymore.
Yeah, he said you could really, if you want an open door policy, make it an open door policy.
When will these radical leftists finally... No, I'm kidding.
The DNC is starting.
Could you imagine? Oh, it is. Oh, no. By the time this is published, it'll be done already.
It'll be over.
Yeah.
I just was going through our episode list like tracker thing that we have and putting in the holidays for like the holiday season. So we know like when...
It's the holiday season.
We were at that bar last night and there's a karaoke machine, which is how Wonderwall started playing. And that's when I texted you.
Hilarious.
Yeah. I listened to it and I was like, oh my God. And everyone else started talking. I was just texting and I was
I'll
like,
be everywhere, Maya. I'll always be with you.
Jesus Christ. So Maddie queued a song before the huge crowd of frat boys managed to cue everything, including Wonderwall.
Sure.
She queued a Bruce Springsteen song. What do you think it was?
Nebraska.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
And it's
in the middle
88
of
degrees outside.
August. Yeah.
Here's the thing. I am okay with frat brothers taking over the karaoke music thing.
It was fine as long as Sweet Caroline's not going to play for like 5 times.
Okay.
I can handle it once.
I have so many stories now. I need someone to play Cheeseburger in Paradise by Jimmy Buffett. Have you? It played over and over again at a party I went to that ended up being a very formative night.
Can we do some ASMR? Let's see if this comes through. That was quite nice, actually.
I feel like everyone needs to use the bathroom now.
You're welcome. That was my white wine. I got this bottle, Kono wine of New Zealand.
I want you to remember this when on September 5th, I am fielding 800 messages from people who hated what you just did right there.
Good.
Also,
give Grant something to do.
I had no idea you had an entire bottle
Maori
of wine
owned.
down there.
This was from the liquor store that I went to that's like close to us, across from that Thai place.
I had no idea. I mean, I noticed you had finished your wine, so when you did unbroken eye contact and just reached down below and just had a full bottle of wine like a pirate. I love it.
Anyway, where's the wine? What is it? The wine's out. The wine's gone.
I'm going to read a story.
Okay.
And then I'm going to tell you guys what I did last night and why I wasn't with Maya and Maddie, which is sad and tragic, and I actually am very much sad that I missed it.
We told you up front the chances of us still being out when you were available.
No, I know, and I did have fun doing what I ended up doing, but
it was a time. It was fun.
Okay. Oh, this is not what I wanted. Hold on 1 second. What's the one?
Santa Claus is coming to town. Buy your Christmas
Here
gifts now, kids. If this is your reminder to start thinking about Christmas gifts, start thinking about Christmas gifts.
Also, if you haven't already started to nail down some of the finer qualities of your Halloween outfit, you have 2 more weeks.
Oh shit! I'm just gonna be 10 again, probably. Okay. I don't have time.
How do we feel about profanity on a listener episode?
That's up to you. I typically will bleep out stuff that happens in the first half hour or an hour. But if you would like me to bleep out what you say, let me know.
Horsing around a badass bitch in Texas.
Okay.
Hi, Maya and Grant. And then immediately in parentheses, yes, I'm a Maya Grant kind of guy.
I did see this.
A Grant Maya in the Will I Left fandom.
Yes! That gave me so much joy. You don't know how much I've been needing that serotonin that you just gave me. What's their name?
Actually, hold on. Do I get permission to say it?
Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay.
Pronouns, he, him.
Okay.
CJ,
thank you so much. I needed that. Thank you. I don't care if Grant needed it or not.
I can't actually wait. Okay. I'm excited. There's a reason why I wanted to read this. One, so you could have this moment where someone was like, I call it Maya and Grant.
Excellent.
Which just sounds weird on the tongue and then the ear.
I mean, it should because I do more of the work. That
Grant
makes
and
sense.
Maya.
Yeah. Nope.
Is that just, but it flows
No,
well.
it doesn't.
First, enjoy this picture of someone's embroidery of a plankton dressed as Chapel Roan in her pink pony club. You can't scroll, but enjoy.
I am obsessed with that. Will you ask him if we can share that?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, thank you.
Second, I love the podcast. Long-time listener, short attention span, except for you two. Aww. This is our second use of parentheses from our friend CJ already.
I have a really random question that has no relevance to anything that we're talking about right now that may not even make it into the podcast.
You have my full and undivided attention.
When we hit sorry, let me reword this question. What milestone do we hit that then allows us to get tattoos that say long-time listener, first-time caller, or something like that, or well I laughed, or it's funny now? Is it 100 episodes? Is it 150? Is it a certain number of downloads? Is it
100 episodes is
it's really close.
Coming up.
Yeah.
The real answer is when I move myself into an area where I'm okay getting a tattoo. I'm completely tattoo free right now.
I forgot that about you.
But
okay, I might get it at 100.
I mean, hold on. I might, for something like this. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I am a firm believer that everyone's first tattoo should like mean something deep to them.
I'm
so
I
won't
funny.
like be
I'm on
upset.
the other end of the spectrum where I'm like, tattoos that don't mean anything at all, those are super cool. I'm just deeply indecisive.
That's fair. I feel like that's why I feel like after my first tattoo, I was more like, let's just get whatever.
Right.
But now I'm
in a crazy way.
Then I got the smiley face, and now I'm like, okay, something needs to mean something.
Got that itch.
I got that itch.
Got
I need
the
a
itch
tattoo.
for meaning that 100 years
Maddie
ago
has gotten 2
people
tattoos.
found in religion.
Yes. Maddie has gotten 2 tattoos in the last month.
Wow.
Last night she got another one, her second one.
I think long-time listener, first-time caller would be really funny.
Right?
Yeah.
I need to design it, or maybe someone.
Yeah.
Will,
they don't want it to be like huge.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of words to be huge. But
yeah. To be little.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Long-time listener,
first-time caller. Because even
on my
I
shoulder
like
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, back to it. Okay, fine. Okay. Wait, was your second idea Plankton dresses Chapel Roan from Pink Pony Club?
No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
I mean, like maybe.
Okay, I want to know. So we are going to now get back into CJ's email, but so far he has had just as many sentences outside of parentheses as he has had inside parentheses.
This is how I write sentences. I've recently started exchanging the parentheses for hyphens. I don't know why, but
Sure.
I get it. I'm the same.
That's also how I like to write, but I can't because I'm giving out like instructions to students. Where like a funny little thought in the middle of
mostly just
sentence.
talk to adults, so no one cares.
That has to be nice, but also really limiting.
Yes,
third, call me CJ. My pronouns are he, him / bad bitch. Love it.
Excellent.
I'm a 28-year-old former educator.
Ooh.
I quit the profession to get my master's degree in clarinet performance.
I'm sorry, what?
I know.
So you literally are Squidward.
Too bad that didn't kill me.
I'm proud of that.
That's a really good observation, Maya. You should drink more wine more often.
I should, I guess.
Where was I? Okay. Master's degree in clarinet performance. I taught for 2 contract years and 1 as a long-term substitute in a SPED ELA classroom, special education, English language arts. I'm far happier now that I'm graduating in the spring and that I left behind the stressors that made me feel as though becoming a professional musician wasn't possible.
Yeah, I'm proud.
I am too.
That's really nice.
You're going to love this next part.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I think you're going to really love this next part.
In what capacity?
I know.
I'm so worried.
And these microphones are now so nice I can really pick up your heavy breathing, and it's right to my ear with the headphones. Hilarious. This story is in 3 parts. How my boyfriend of almost 5 years and I met, in parentheses. Sorry, Grant, I gotta shout out my boo thing. End of parentheses.
Grant's like, so love is real.
I mean, for everyone else, I guess. Cool. Second, how the hell I got to Texas. And how I knew that this man is the one for me. And then in parentheses, again, sorry, Grant. CJ. No, I'm kidding. Dumb story there. Okay, so part 1. My boyfriend and I met when I was on vacation with my mom and stepdad. May he rest in peace. We both got on a particular orange and black dating app. One that's less concerned about your first name and more about your proximity. For those who don't know what I'm talking about. That's the one that
starts with the G, yeah?
It does.
Okay. I can't remember the
I'll tell you this much.
icon.
It is not going to help you find coffee shops.
I get it.
Nice. Okay,
yeah.
good.
It's between like 3 names, okay? So
dating app that evening and spent so long talking that I didn't realize the sun was coming up. Aww.
Oh, that's cute.
Also, like, not the common experience on that app.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a wild time.
We eventually met before he left to go back to Oklahoma more than once and exchanged numbers. The PG version of our meeting for my parents is we met at an outlet mall near my then undergraduate campus one day while I was out with friends and he was with his parents. I'm afraid to tell my parents the true version, even though I'm almost 30, and for whatever reason, I think they're going to kick me out, even though I moved to Oklahoma for school. Insert Maia and Grant's retorts about red states having the most flamboyant, flaming homosexuals just moved there unbeknownst to its governor. Yeah, that's true. Oh. Sorry. This is really fitting nicely into the universe right now. At that new gay bar on the Fruit Loop, Danny and I were there. And there was a person there solo. And sometimes those vibes are weird. Sometimes they're not. They needed a chair. There was a chair near us. We started chatting. This individual, had been kind of all over Colorado, rural communities, etc., before landing in Denver. And I was like, oh, yeah, like grew up in Nebraska, like a year in California before coming here. And then Danny goes, yeah, I just think it's like really good when like gay people like have like a conservative experience before they like kind of move. Like it kind of helps like refine the edges a little bit. And I go, I mean, I agree, but Danny, you went from downtown Chicago to Denver University. Like
you weren't in a red area.
Right, exactly.
You were in very metropolitan areas.
Exactly. The reddest area was your school because your school colors were maroon. Yeah. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Love him, though. And I was like, we're better than you.
You're right. Trauma does help.
So, part one, he and his boyfriend meet in a somewhat scandalous way. Super common way for our community.
Just
but
like
outside of our community.
Yeah.
A little scandalous.
Yeah.
Part two, how did I, a closeted Republican's... I'm not going to say that next part. Get to Texas. CJ, you're a good writer. Well, my boyfriend and I decided to take a weekend trip to Dallas since I have never been to Texas at the time. He picks me up from the airport since I lived in Georgia, and we go back to the hotel he reserved for the weekend. I felt like a prince being pampered. Anyways, I suggested I pay for drinks that evening since he paid for just about everything I consumed since landing. I soon took to the internet and decided on a speakeasy in downtown Dallas.
Yeah.
We get there, order over $120 worth of drinks. So like 5.
True.
I mean, we get it.
Yeah.
We get it. It's again, like I remember being in Dublin and they're like, we're so sorry you're in the most expensive city in Europe. But picture that with like an authentic Irish accent. And I was like, yeah, this is crazy. $8-9? What?
Whoa.
Of course, the exchange rate got me in August, but that's
yeah.
We had a merry time. When I get drunk, I have 2 moods. I love you and everyone around so much, I'm going to throw ass until I change the direction which the earth rotates.
Yes.
It's a not so odd occurrence for me. Both moods were activated that night. Hold on, I'd said something wrong. Oh, no, it's just that I love you and I'm going to throw ass. Those are the 2 moods.
Those are the 2 moods, yeah.
Okay. Since he was far more sober than I was, he was the one to drive. After we got back above ground, I fully sprinted to his car. Even when we got back to our hotel and the floor which we were staying on, I sprinted yet again to our room. Apparently, I turned into an Olympic athlete with the right amount of tequila and rum.
Apparently, you're one of the runners.
He's a runner, and that really causes me concern.
I'm a runner. I'm a track star.
I ended up making a hole in the wall from the force of my entry into our room. Eating the leftover tacos from dinner and passing out mere moments later.
I love that. Honestly, I want to recreate that without the intense hangover the next day.
Night 2 of Vancouver, when I came home, and lovely Hayden was like,
do you want the sushi? Yeah.
If that's what marriage is like, I'd reconsider.
I was eating a tuna melt from that bakery while Sophie and Maddie were asleep in the bed next to me. It was peak happiness.
It really was like a beautiful time.
Oh, it was great.
Part 3, almost done. After I awoke from my 100-mile heat at the Dallas Drunk Guy Olympics, I went to the bathroom to vomit.
Good.
After a couple of gushes of yesterday's endeavors, I clean myself up and head back to bed to cuddle. He hugged me until I stopped crying. Since that very morning, I got some sad news from home.
Oh, that's a horrible time to get that news.
When I did, he said, I love you, in the most sincere timbre while looking into my eyes. Yeah.
Isn't it timber?
I'm yelling timber.
I'm yelling timber.
Only us could ruin a sentimental moment.
Yeah, we need to. Anyway, CJ.
I'm going to keep calling it timbre because it makes it feel foreign in French and cool.
Timbre.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. And we're back, baby. What I did, he said, I love you in the most sincere timbre while looking into my passionate heart.
Oh,
One
that's
thing
sweet.
led to another, and I instantly let myself feel a lot better.
It's like our smut novels. Anyway, they held hands and went into the room.
Exactly. TLDR, if you're looking for love, horse around at your local pink pony club. Hope I made you laugh. Musically yours. Also, I attached a pic we took that night from the story. This is pre-sprint. This too.
We won't share this one.
They're in a cute little phone book, though.
Oh! Phone book? Phone booth.
I can't have anything nice here.
Well, I mean, like, say the word right. And then maybe.
They're in the phone
That is
book.
really
I'm
cute.
sure they're also in a phone book.
Maybe
Do phone
somewhere.
books exist still?
I have gotten phone books, but like for suppliers, and it's been like I got a really thick manual almost to our PO box.
Why?
It was like selling. It was Uline that was selling like cardboard boxes and shit, and it also had like a phone book section of like other suppliers. I don't know. It was weird.
Fascinating.
Yeah, crazy.
That was really sweet. I love that story.
Didn't you have a story to also say? You said after this I'm gonna say something.
I did say that.
You did. That's okay. You can remember that later.
Wasn't that important, I guess.
Yeah, apparently.
My parents used to say that. If I'd forget something, they'd be like, well, I guess it wasn't that important. And I'd be like, if you had just given me a little bit more time of speaking, I would have gotten to it. And it's like, I'm already at like 68 minutes of speak time in the entire conversation. And there's 5 of us.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, that's exactly why we stopped you.
At that time, they'd be like, Grant, edit down a little bit, okay?
That's why I'm editing and not Grant.
Just be like, shorten it up, babes. Oh God! And then who was I talking to the other day? I
Couldn't tell you.
It was something for work. We were at professional development, but who was I talking to? I said something along the lines of like, I'm famous for saying the real story I told was the world we built along the way.
You are. Me and Maddie like lost our minds last night because we just kept being like, and I've always said that. Because I think Lee started saying that at the Bachelorette trip, and Maddie would say something and be like, and you've always said that.
You've always said that. That's so true, and you've always said that.
You've always said that.
Oh, I'm so in. I don't know if I was invited, but I'm here.
Yeah, Lee's the one that started. I don't know where he got it from, but it's been killing me. It's also just been killing. It's been hilarious to everyone I've done it to.
Everyone gets it immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this is from our friend Casey, not my Casey, a different Casey.
Although it freaked him out when we were
Although,
like,
Casey, you know what your last name is because you're about to hear the email that we sent. Your last name is Casey's half-sister's maiden name. And so when we read your full name, right before we recorded, Casey was like, I'm sorry, what?
you are married to Maia in a not-so-distant alternate universe.
But it's also really weird because Casey's half-sister, Montana, is married to a Casey. Spelled
and
the
your
same
mother's grandmother, her aunt.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. Anyway, so this is from our friend Casey. You can use my first name, Casey. Pronouns are she, her. This ended up being way longer than expected. She puts a TLDR. I'm going to read that at the end.
Love it.
In 2015, when I was 25, I moved back home for a bit to figure out a new career path. I went through my midlife crisis early. Yeah, fair.
Let's not go ahead and limit ourselves to one crisis.
You can have a quarter life crisis.
Absolutely.
Actually, that's the banner I had on my 25th birthday. Quarter life crisis.
You can have a quarter life crisis. Wait, hold on. I was at your 25th birthday.
Yeah, I had a banner. It was in the main floor on the stairs. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, while living there, a friend introduced me to a guy who was in a similar transitional period. Neither of us wanted to date anyone because he knew he was moving states soon, and I was looking to leave the area as well. Well, we started hanging out a lot, like every night. We'd go out to eat, cook meals, and snuggle while watching movies. I would basically get to his house after he was done with work and then leave when we decided it was time for bed. For a little over a month, parentheses, maybe less, maybe more. What is time? Same. It was the most romantic, platonic relationship and friendship I'd ever had. It was wonderful. Of course, one thing led to another, and things became, shall we say, less platonic. Around New Year's, I got a job and moved about 3...
Was it at you? Were we on air one time when you shared the story about a guy who wouldn't get the hint to leave?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I have been thinking about my reaction to that story.
Good.
I was like, oh, you mean after he left, you were like, I don't know. I just like need to see this like dude
other guy that I
who-
clearly have no feelings for.
I'm like, it is so clear as day. I don't know.
Oh, it's so clear to everyone else now.
No, I know, but at the time, like, I still am thinking about it as I drive around, and I'm like, I'm a goddamn psychologist. I'm the rogue sheriff who like cracked the case. I'm like, nothing gets by me. Nothing. I'm like Paloma Diamond.
Sure. Anyway, it's a crazy thing you just said.
It's a very specific reference
Yes.
to a very specific group of people on
That
TikTok.
about 8 people will know.
100%.
Okay, perfect. Message us. Okay, so around
Actually, just send me Paloma Diamond stuff. Like, that's actually all I really want. Continue.
Okay, around New Year's, I got a job and moved about a 3-hour drive north. He came to my mom's house to see me off and gave me a kiss goodbye on his way to a coffee date.
What? I have not read this at all.
I haven't
want
read
you to
anything
know.
past this, and I have a lot of questions.
One, I mean, I hate to be that guy, but 3.5 hours is actually so doable if you're in a relationship together.
Yes, you can drive each an hour and a half, and hopefully there's like a cute little spot in between. Or 3 hours is not that bad. Like you could drive a Friday night, spend the entire weekend, drive back Sunday night, or even early Monday morning, and be fine.
Two of my really, really good friends got married and then both accepted grad school positions in Idaho. But one was at Idaho State and the other one was at Idaho University, which are roughly about 8 hours apart from each other. I know.
Gosh.
So they would work like Monday to Friday afternoon. And then one weekend, one would drive down, and then they'd spend the whole weekend and then drive back. And then the next weekend, the other person would like drive up.
Yeah.
And my parents were like, I don't know how a young couple could do that. I'm like, that's literally the perfect scenario. Give me 4 evenings to like really focus on my career at this stage, get things done, like hammer stuff out. Like I'm all about disassociating and compartmentalizing. Okay. Like what a perfect opportunity. They're still together. They, this is actually really sweet. Last bit. And then we'll get to the story.
Well, now I have a story. So.
Oh, good. Okay. Shocking. No one. They're great now. They moved. And they were with some of our other friends when they last visited Denver, but who like didn't know them. And we were like, yeah, how are things? And he goes, oh, yeah, no, it's good. I mean, you know that we just bought a house in Manhattan. And we're like, yeah, that's awesome. Right. And our friend has that reaction because they're not from the center of the country. Yeah. So they assume they mean like Manhattan, the island. And we all knew they meant Manhattan, the Kansas.
Okay. Yeah, because I was like, Manhattan,
New York?
State
Jesus. University.
Okay.
What's your story?
This all just reminds me of that episode of The Office.
It always reminds you. That's your religion.
Really, truly is. When what's her name? Holly has to go back to Utica, and it's right after Holly and Michael start dating, and so they're all in the truck, in the 3-seater front of the truck, driving her to Utica. Michael keeps trying to sing along to Life is a Highway, and it cuts into like, all right, 5th time's the charm. When an life is a highway. And then anyway, at some point Holly starts crying and she's like, and Michael's like, did Daryl touch you? And Daryl's like, what? No. And then they start like, Holly and Michael kind of start arguing, and then Michael is like, I just want the best for you. And you can see Holly just like kind of relax. And she's like, finally, he's like getting it. Cause she's like, this is way too far of a drive now that we're actually doing it to do it every week. And he's like, at first he's like, but I can be on the phone with you the entire way up. Maybe one day I'll see a really bad accident.
So that is really who I am. Yeah. Like, as a person, I actually really get that response.
Exactly. But then he goes on. He's like, I just want the best for you. I want you to meet someone who like loves you and cherishes you. And then Holly is like, thank you, Michael. Like, thank you so much for like appreciating this and like wanting to move forward into healthy spaces. And then Michael continues and he's like, lucky for me, you have that already. Daryl,
know your worth, babes.
Daryl from the driver's seat just goes, good job, Michael. Anyway, they start arguing, and then Daryl gets on the phone. He's like, hey, man, so remember that time? It's just the most chaotic.
Okay. First,
Yeah.
Maya had me laughing so hard I was reaching for her hand.
Yeah.
And this week we had various students in and out. School doesn't start until tomorrow, but this week kids were in and out. And a child said something so unhinged. This is a new student I have not taught before, but like they'd been in my room for 45 minutes, so like they were blood relatives
now.
at this point.
Yes.
Right? I looked at her and I said, and I'm going to hold your hand when I tell you this. You know what that's referencing, right? Right. And it was
wait, is it referencing something?
Yes.
No.
When you look at someone and you go, and I'm going to hold my hand when I tell you this, it means what I'm about to tell you is
crazy.
so obvious.
I understand
You're
like the
insane.
idea. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Lastly, about Michael and Molly.
Yeah. Holly.
Thank you. I got it right.
Yeah, you did.
Thanks. I met a Molly recently, and she
That's
goes, "Hi, I'm Molly, like the drug." That's a crazy experience. You spoke too soon. Thank you.
It's a crazy thing that you just said. A lot of
And
people.
now I'm like, is that just how you pronounce it, or is that also how you spell it? I just okay. So when Michael comes back for the last episode at Dwight's wedding, and everyone like cries. Like I don't actually cry when like Michael shows up or anything. The part that I cry at is Pam's line when she goes, Michael actually had to buy 2 phones to fit all the photos of his
really
kids.
Cute.
That's what I'm like. He got everything he ever wanted.
He really did.
And maybe even not what he deserved.
The thing that I always cry about is they do the like talk back kind of where like they break the fourth wall like for real, and then they have like a panel with all of the Office like cast and then just a bunch of people asking questions, and Erin finds her birth parents.
I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead.
Why are you laughing right now?
Because I'm sure Casey's like, what the hell is my story gonna start?
That's so real, and I'm so sorry, Casey. Erin finding her birth parents gets me every time.
And I'm gonna hold my hand as I tell you that. That's not
my
shocking.
Hand?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That's not shocking me. So where did we last leave off?
He has her like boyfriend, not boyfriend, has a coffee date as she's about to leave.
We left on a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
too.
we really did. We really fucked everybody
up. We were
up.
like, y'all stay here. We'll be back. And then we recreated a scene from The Office.
What?
Well, we're back, and we're glad you didn't go anywhere.
I'm going to start that paragraph over. Around New Year's, I got a job and moved about a 3-hour drive north. Grant's losing it.
This is the most sober either one of us has ever been in an episode, too.
I can't say that. That's not true for me. That's true for Grant, though. He came to my mom's house to see me off and give me a kiss goodbye on his way to a coffee date. He did, however, promise to see me for my birthday in a few weeks. I don't actually want to see you at that point. Okay, anyway. A few weeks passed. There were phone calls. He mentioned the coffee date, but said it wasn't really anything to talk about because he was moving. He quickly followed that up by saying his oldest female friend asked him to be a sperm donor for her and her wife.
Sorry. There were just several blows. Boom.
Yeah,
boom.
boom,
Was
boom,
that
boom.
the coffee date?
I hope so. This isn't super relevant, but his internal debate on this took up many of our phone calls.
Yeah.
Much like some other people we know. Internal debates just always taking up phone calls. Anyway,
I ask you questions.
Anyway, next time we'll talk about you. Yeah. Okay, so which is part of the reason I didn't see the following coming. Well, my first... Notice the way Grant just stopped laughing. He was like, give me the tea. Give me the tea.
I hate to be so well balanced, but it's like, I can capture this joy for later. What else do you have to do?
Yeah. Okay. Well, my first birthday in a new job, new city, limited social circle is coming up. I was super excited to see him. He called me a few days before my birthday to tell me he could no longer make it. I was devastated. Turns out the woman he met was also moving to the same place he wasn't comfortable coming to see me. That was basically the last time we spoke, except for when his mom, who I had spent a good deal of time with, called me to invite me to his surprise 30th birthday. He and the coffee date are now married.
What?
With at least one child.
What?
I have no idea if he has provided genetic material for any other children, but man, was that a shitty way to start a pretty chaotic year.
That's not where that story ends.
Oh, that's it. It just signs off. Headphones came off, y'all. Headphones back on.
Casey, I'm sorry.
That's insane.
Listeners, if I had known that it was going to end that way, I mean, I probably would have still included it. This is like a riveting story, but like...
I think, I was going to read the TLDR at the end. Also, the subject line of the email is, "The lover scorned was me."
Oh, shit. That's right. That was the title of the email.
Yeah. TLDR, my best friend in booty call ditched me on my birthday because he just met someone he thought was better wife material than me.
Wow.
Casey, I'm going to start this out before we say our funny little joke.
She's going to hold your hand as she says this.
I'm going to hold your hand as you say this, like physically and metaphorically. I'll hold Grant's hand instead.
Your hands are so soft right now, by the way.
Thank you. I just had to clean them profusely because I had wood stain on them.
Just take the compliment.
Thank you. Really soft skin. You didn't deserve that.
Mm-mm.
That was really shitty. And I hope you find someone 20 times better. 30 times better. That was a shitty thing he did.
That was a super shitty thing.
Who does that? On his way to a coffee date? Girl, bye.
Also, like, even if he wasn't intentionally trying to be, like, mean or rude to you, like, that's just a tough thing for you to go through.
Yeah.
Especially as you, like, move into a new city and you're, like, trying to build
that's
this
such a
whole
big
life
transition period, and you're, like, counting on the people that you have traditionally been counting on to, like, be there for you, and... That's always hard. Casey and I go through this a lot, not like this specific scenario, but like whenever one of us is out of town working for something, it's always like the person that's out of town is like, I'm bored. Like, can you talk, you know? And so it's like we're very akin to like understanding that when the other one needs us a lot in those kinds of situations. And when you have that, but then the other person is like, by the way, I have a coffee date with someone that I think might replace you ostensibly. Like, girl, bye. Also, I'm not convinced that the thing wasn't a lie that someone asked him to be a sperm donor. That seems, I mean, it doesn't have to be, but like.
We're spinning webs here now. We are,
I
we are exploring pathways.
I'm a conspiracy theorist at heart. Like, I really wish my logic could allow for more of that, but
I don't have the time for that kind of humorous nonsense.
You're right. I also don't, because I'm editing the podcast all the time. I want to make meat in my own basement.
So I mean, okay, sorry, two things. We're going to circle back to the podcast work though, but first, saw Lydia the other day, and Jacob's been on the East Coast for a work training, and even though she saw him for a little bit of that, like she went out and visited, he's been out there for like 2 weeks. And so we were like, yeah, Lydia, so like, how are you handling, like, Jacob's been gone for a while? And she goes, oh no, it's actually like, it's like so funny. I called him the other day and we were chatting, and then I realized it was the middle of his workday, and then we'd been on the phone for more than 45 minutes. And we were both like, oh shoot, yeah, I better let you go.
I love that.
And that's cute and adorable. Second thing I was going to say is, one, as always, I'm grateful for you for editing the podcast. But two, like, when we do stuff like we've been doing this week, which is we do a lot really quickly, it suddenly goes from having very little to do to having like hours of stuff to edit. And I am sorry about that. When I came in today, I found Maya so wrapped up on the couch. I thought she was the couch until she moved. Great. I thought she was just a pile of blankets.
I was like, I could continue working on my wood project. I have a rule that when the days that we record, I don't work on the podcast because otherwise it's too much of me and you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I could continue working on my wood project, but then when you texted, like, I'm on my way, I was like, great. I'm just going to put on a sweatshirt and melt into this couch. Yeah. We are probably going to need another story. We're at an hour.
Yeah. Sorry, now I was reading a text message.
You're good.
Hi,
little lady.
We actually have two I think I can read. Come on. Yes, okay, sweet. Cool. From a listener. Listener's name is Katie.
Ooh, look at us.
Hi, Maia and Grant. A second one tonight.
It's a good day for me.
It's your night. Look at you. Look at you.
Shut up.
I'll rob it from you. Just take any moment of joy. I'm kidding. My name is Katie, and I'm going to start off with a huge thank you. Your podcast has been a light in a tough year and brought me so much joy. Please never stop doing 3-hour podcast. It feels like a girl's night on the couch every time I listen. Aww. Very sweet, especially since Maya is like guzzling wine right now.
I've only had 2 glasses, which is half a bottle, and we're working on it. Okay.
Listen, you don't got to drive anywhere, babes. Like, get after it.
I really don't.
The only reason I ever volunteer to host book club is because then I don't have to drive anywhere afterwards.
That's why I host things most of the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like, that's it. Well, and then I have to clean my house. That's nice too.
Yeah.
That motivation. Because otherwise...
Literally, Casey and I don't know if both of us consciously started doing it, but we're like, we should invite people overboard. Otherwise, this house is never going to be clean.
I was talking to, I think it was Griffin, who has moved into a place where he has a guest bedroom. And I'm like, it's always nice. You're like, oh, cool, you can stay here in the guest bedroom. And you always think the morning they leave, you're like, I'm going to wash those sheets.
Last night.
Okay, so it was who? Okay. Oh, because it was you directly.
Yeah.
Are you going to cut that, or is that going to stay?
No, that's going to stay. 100% that's going to stay. That was us after recording yesterday.
Huge compliment that I thought it was something I was talking to Griffin about.
Thank you. I appreciate that you mistaked me and Casey for Griffin. I'm going to send this clip to Griffin.
Did I say it at the beer garden or just here? Okay, so they have no idea what I'm talking about then. I'm not going to finish it. Let's let it stay where it is. I recently, back to Katie's story, I recently listened to the episode where you shared Ashley's horrifyingly embarrassing moment while giving blood. Ashley grows from the experience, and she was grateful and cathartic.
That.
And we love those stories. And Ashley wrote just a hilarious story.
Oh, it was beautiful.
And I was laughing in solidarity with everyone involved. It made me think of my own embarrassing moments, and I thought she intends to. Okay, I thought I'd share as I can laugh about them now, and hope you will too. You are welcome to use my name and she, her pronouns. To set the scene for my story, it takes place on the top floor of an old college campus building. Love this book already. I'm in the universe. It's a little stuffy up there.
Oh yeah, 100%. All the desks creak.
Correct, and it's all wood floors, huge windows. Oh, and they have a little half moon arch over the windows to let in natural light.
Sure.
Okay, we have different college buildings. It's fine.
Yours was just more romantic. It sounds like mine used to be a dorm room.
Ours was filled with asbestos and yellow. I think this is what I wanted it to look like.
Oh, okay. That's actually super fair.
This college campus building is also in the middle of a nowhere Midwest cornfield. She might have gone to K-State. Not really
anywhere
kidding,
in the Midwest, actually, yeah.
The building has one small elevator that periodically breaks, so stairs are the best option. At the top of the stairs and at the end of the hall is my sophomore year speech class. The professor is incredibly charming and inspiring, if a touch terrifying.
You terrifying? The face that you just made? The entire body language you just gave off?
Miss Warner. Are we done with the nonsense now?
No. I can't take you seriously.
No,
Get out
I know.
of here.
You've seen too much.
I know I have. I was like, it's really cute what you're doing.
I just smile so easily.
Cut the pretense.
Charming.
Yeah.
If slightly terrifying. There we go. His class is notorious for being difficult and expectations are high. I'm a stereotypical first child seeking gold stars constantly. So this course scares the bejeebers. Actually wrote bejeebers. Love it.
I actually love
Definitely
bejeebers.
Midwest.
Yeah.
Bejeebers out of me. Because the walk to class is so strenuous, I show up every day with jumpy nerves and doing that stressful thing where you try to swallow your breath to look like you aren't huffing, which actually basically just makes you strangle yourself.
Me at that movie.
What was it? Zone of Interest or something like that? Like the most intense psychological
It starts out
thriller.
just like black screen,
Correct.
like brrr,
right. It's just terrifying.
brrr, and I'm sitting there like
and then the waiter, sorry ma'am, can I get you anything? And you're like, yeah. And I go, just give her a minute. I think she just needs a minute.
The waiter literally didn't ask me ever if I wanted anything because I would have said a glass of water. It's fine. Grant gave me some of his fries.
I did. Maybe even a whole mozzarella stick.
Something like you were like, here.
Okay, so she's basically strangling herself.
Yes.
Anyways, one day I showed up to class and was Kristen Wiig on a plane, stressed.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because I had to catch a bus after class to get to another class for a final exam.
That's Sucks.
Yeah.
Hate that.
The professor of the other class was notorious for locking his door on test days, so anyone late couldn't enter and would fail. I decided to ask Mr. Inspiring but Terrifying Speech Professor to let me out 5 minutes early. I pulled him aside and quietly asked if that would be okay. He stared at me and said, "Sure, that's fine."
Oh, God.
I turned to walk away and he continued, "On one condition.
Oh, Jesus.
You have to pretend you are leaving class because you are mad at me."
Wait, I love him. Wait, that's so funny. I was so prepared to like hate this man for what he was about to say. That's hysterical.
And I'm sorry, because you're only hearing me, so you're not seeing how it's written. And obviously you guys don't have like the text in front of you. I love that so many of our listeners are literature girlies, because everything we get is written so well.
And that's not to discourage you from writing to us.
No, please write more.
Write to us in your voice. Don't try and write it as if you're about to be graded. We want to be able to interpret how you're about to say it.
When you guys send it, it is always fun to hear your voices. That's always fantastic.
Bad grammar and spelling are encouraged.
I'm like, everyone's like, I always feel so bad about like misspelling something in front of Grant. I'm actually horrendous at grammar and spelling.
Also, we're just horrendous at reading in general, even if it is well written, and I will cut out anytime that we misread something. So you don't have to fear.
And then my favorite thing is after they send us these like beautiful, hilarious, like first person narrative stories, it always ends with, sorry, this was like so scatterbrained, but I hope you enjoyed it. And
literally me every time I write an email that's longer than like 2 paragraphs.
And I'm like, babes, you gave us minute after minute of like charming little expository. Exactly.
Yeah. Amazing.
As long as you pretend to be mad at me.
That's so funny.
What? He continues. I don't care how you do it, but it has to be a dramatic. Flip a desk or something. Oh, and you can't tell anybody. He smiled.
I love him.
And then so he goes, so this is not to recreate what I just read. He goes, oh, and you can't tell anybody. Okay, class, let's go ahead and get started. Ends her ability to ask any follow-up questions. He gets class started.
That's beautiful. I am imagining her just sitting at the front of the room, like mouth agape.
Still running on trip breath. I can tell you for a fact, I have started class to end or avoid a conversation before, right? Like kids are coming up, they're talking to you. Should I break up with my boyfriend? Yes. Should I go to prom? Also, yes.
Yeah.
Should I go to prom with my boyfriend? Just get like 8 of your best girlfriends, rent a limo, and go to an Applebee's.
Get your own.
You're welcome.
Corsage.
Exactly.
No one needs to know.
It's the only way it's going to match your dress, right? Like.
True.
It is the best way to avoid anything is be like, oh, interesting, but we got to get started. Okay, everybody. Because, what are they going to say?
Yeah.
They have an assignment.
It's so real.
I'm
going to buy you a corsage just like randomly. Not a corsage, a boutonniere.
I actually would prefer a corsage.
Okay, I'll buy
That's
you a
the one
corsage.
on the wrist, right? Yeah. I never got one.
Who the hell?
I went to 5 proms in high school. I've worn dozens of boutonnieres.
Okay, I'll get you a corsage. You get me a boutonniere.
Yeah.
Okay,
great.
Just like randomly. Okay, cool. I was just having a memory of
what just happened?
I was having a memory of the last time I had
there was
to
like weird eye tension between us in a good way.
Go into a King Supers to
We're
order
on chapter
a
9 in a romance book right now.
9? I'm on chapter 31 and they haven't even kissed.
Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
Anyway, we're gonna buy each other flowers at some point. Do you remember the episode of Friends?
No, I can definitely tell you.
I think it was at some wedding or something where someone's like, "Did you get the corsages?" And Joey, of course, is like, "I could really go for a corsage right now." So like,
yeah, I would just love a little convenient palm flower.
What the hell?
Wait, hold on. If I get you a boutonniere and you get me a corsage, then we can take prom photos together. Yes. Where I stand behind you and hold your hips awkwardly.
Should this be our merch advertisement?
Oh my God. Photos? Yes. It'll just say EXO spreadsheet girl and I'll have a boutonniere or you'll have a boutonniere.
I'll have a boutonniere
and I'll have a corsage.
My drill and my apron that's covered in
I
sawdust.
want flower crown, bald head. Not enough bald heads get flower crowns.
Oh, that's true.
We keep leaving them in the middle of cliffhangers.
Sorry. Get back to the story. Look how comfortable Mo is right now. For those that are just on the audio platform, Mo is just like on my lap, just full eagle, spread eagle, like asking for belly rubs right now.
Okay, so gentle listener, last we left you. Her professor was like, yeah, that's totally fine, but you have to be like,
how did we get to corsages and boutonnieres?
Actually have no idea. I can't wait for you to listen back.
To edit and be like, help.
Because we got that pretty quickly. I think we've only been off for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
So,
Jesus.
claps his hands, starts class. Oh my God. Wait, hold on. She actually says gentle readers.
Yes!
We got a Bridgerton in the house.
I love it.
Gentle readers, I cannot describe the sheer panic I experienced for nearly an hour. My speech partner at one point asked me if he could call someone for me.
Because she was like just sweating for like 50 minutes.
Or maybe get me some food or water. I told him that I was going... I told him what was going to happen so he wouldn't call an ambulance. As the clock clicked down to my dramatic send-off, I decided to do it. Threat of failure is a fabulous motivator for a type A Catholic raised, parentheses, no longer practicing Avi, Midwest first child. I slowly stood up and loudly proclaimed, quote, "I can't believe you are making us do this speech," end quote. For this next bit, I'm going to need to get more visual so you can picture the scenario. I'm a tiny white woman, light brown hair, fairly clumsy.
Hell yeah, me too.
Easily buffeted by the wind. Welcome to the next segment of our Lonely Listener Hour.
Watch, she's like married happily.
No,
with,
I
like,
know.
3
I know.
kids,
I know.
yeah.
I barely spoke in this class outside of my speeches, so very few people knew my name.
They were like,
right.
Who the hell is this mousy little woman?
I was not at all a theater kid, though looking back, maybe I could have benefited from doing a little bit of theater. Everyone could, babes.
Truly.
At this point in my life, if someone called me mousy,
hey, it's me.
I would have agreed with them that was pretty on brand.
I was really worried you were about to say, I would have yelled at them.
I'm ready.
Like, yeah. Anyway, I love you.
Where am I? I keep laughing so hard.
Her name's Katie.
That I lose. Yes, that I lose the space. On brand. I proceeded to literally pick up my desk and gently place it on its side on the ground. Stop my foot, cross my arms, and literally sprint out the room as I yelled, "I hate this class!"
Wait!
I could hear a pin drop leaving the Pandorium the second I closed the door. Being indebted to the U.S. government for thousands of dollars is the only thing that got me back to that classroom a week later.
Oh my God.
I never brought it up, and nobody spoke about the incident.
Because they're like worried that you're like unstable or something. Oh my gosh.
And to this day, I have no idea if the professor or my speech partner told anyone about the bit after I left.
Here's what I hope in our little I left multiverse. I hope someday, if it's today, that's great.
One day more.
That there will be another listener that was in that class.
Oh my God, yes.
That never got an answer.
You'd be shocked at how much of like a reach this ends up having.
Yeah.
You heard this story from your friend who went to college in the Midwest and it gets shared.
Like, didn't you tell me about this happening in your debate class? I hope someone gets an answer from you telling us a story. But also, I want to be in the room. I want to experience this not knowing what's going on.
Yes.
And have that moment at the bar at whatever you're like.
The follow-up.
Yeah, like, oh my God, you will never guess what happened in today's debate class.
Okay, I need to finish this literal last sentence.
You're good.
But I have something for you there. I feel like this email is getting way too long. It's not.
Never too long.
It's never too long.
Yeah.
People send us attachments. It's never too long. But I have another very embarrassing moment in Mr. Inspiring but Terrifying Speech Professor's class, if you are curious.
Yes, we are.
As I sip a gin and tonic.
Hell yeah.
Katie, love it. Okay, so I took a theater class my freshman year of college.
Oh my God.
Freshman or sophomore year. I think freshman, spring semester. And it's in this giant lecture hall, right? Like 120 of us. There's a professor at the front. And at the start of this day, he's showing us this video. And it's like a video of a stage play. And it's a pretty bad...
Sorry, I'm not. I was just resting my face.
Okay.
That is actually a good... I should stop doing that. Sorry.
Do you want to tell them what you just did?
I just like
Do you want to
rested
not
my
make me look crazy?
I just like rested my lips or like my chin kind of on the microphone while making direct eye contact with Grant. Grant's eyes got a little panicked as he moved closer to the mic until I realized
I'm like moving my mouth now like around the mic. I'm like, I can't get closer, babes.
that he thought I was trying to tell him to get closer. No, that's a good note. I won't do that unless I'm trying to ask you to get closer. I was just trying to rest my my old bones on this mic. I need to stop drinking wine.
No, I think you need to drink more. Okay, so what I was gonna, so our theater professor is showing us this video of like this bizarre stage play that like I am struggling to follow, and I am like locked into trying to follow it. And I'm locked in because there's this couple right next to me making out. And it's like 10:30 in the morning. And it's like the most distracting thing ever.
Yeah.
But I'm a Nebraskan, so I'm not saying anything at all. I'm just deeply uncomfortable. And then someone walks in late, which was like pretty unusual. Yeah. And then like a yelling argument starts in the back row. And after about 3 to 5 minutes of this, the professor turns on the lights, and all of those like students stood up and took a bow and then moved to the front of the room.
What?
And we're basically like, and that's called acting. And it was a lesson
and
that
that's hip hop. Like,
Thank you.
What?
Thank you. The lesson that day was on audience behavior and how it can impact a performance and other people's like perception of the performance and stuff.
I was gonna say that reminds me of those kids when I was chaperoning that field trip with you.
Yeah, that's also very, very relevant. Yes, correct.
It did affect the performance in certain ways.
Hey guys, notice how everyone else has started to sit away from you? Take the note.
Meanwhile, actor number 1 is pretending to be actor number 2's wife, and they have insane chemistry.
That's right. Because
there was just so much going on in that
The
play.
problem is you got 2 shows. The show that we had paid to see.
And the show of watching you doing your day job.
Meanwhile, I got half a show, which is the show that I was able to watch when I wasn't actively doing my job.
It's great for me. I get Lydia now. It's perfect.
And
it's
that's
the perfect balance.
Acting.
Showbiz. That's showbiz, baby.
Oh, and in between those takes too, I'm like stepping out to the lobby. I might call in the National Association. I'm like, fix our registration.
Meanwhile, every time you walk out, I get heart palpitations because I'm like, how do I tell them to stop making out?
Like, what happens if there's a fire?
Yeah, what do I do? There's so many of them,
Grant
and one
brought
of me.
30 downtown. This is crazy. Yeah, that experience is what every single bus driver also experienced, because we just take city transit.
Yes.
And they pull up to a stop that normally has 2, and there's 33 children just talking to each other like the sardines from SpongeBob.
Yes.
Just kind of like screaming into the air. Yeah. And I'm like, on the bus, children.
Get on. Go.
So anyways, yeah, the making out was part of apparently the lesson there was I was supposed to say something, or like the people around were supposed to be like,
what?
hey, this isn't an appropriate thing to do. And
we're in college.
I know, but I think that's why he was like, this is where you learn, you know? It was a funny lesson.
There was one time, I think, where were we? I think we were in New York. I don't remember which performance we were at. It must have been Hamilton, I think, when we were in New York, and someone in front of us turned around and asked the people that were sitting next to us to stop playing with their like plastic cup or something. Mm-hmm. And they like really said that in the most like aggressive and rude way that they possibly could. And the guy, it was like an immigrant family, so like I think they were directly talking to one of the parents that like clearly like English second language, and I don't think they fully understood what was being told to them of like stop playing with your cup or whatever. And so I eventually stepped in because I had noticed a similar sound and was like, I'm pretty sure it's the people behind us, like it's not us. And then they were like, oh, like I'm so sorry, and then they apologized, and it was a whole thing. And then like 10 minutes later, it was during intermission or something, so like a couple minutes later, Casey turned to me and he was like, hey, I think it actually was the people next to us. And I was like, That's okay. No one needs to know.
Casey's like, I am standing beside you.
Yeah.
From right over here.
Yeah. He was like, I don't disagree with what you did, but I think they had a point.
And that's the tough thing, right? It's like there shouldn't be glass in an auditorium, but there should be gin and tonics. So like,
And
how do we plastic?
We,
that's the answer.
Balance that with crinkly little plastic cups.
Anyway. I was at this was the story I was going to share an hour ago. I was at the Calkins Opera House last night. Yeah. But there's a thing called the Lofts.
Is that where it was?
Well, it was in the Lofts at the Calkins Opera House.
Like in the DCPA.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's where I saw the live talkback version of Rocky Horror Picture Show. Have you ever been to one of these before?
Like a Rocky Horror Picture Show, yes.
Right, where there's like actors and they're screaming over the movie.
Yes, yeah,
I think that's just what they call it.
Oh, okay, like yes. I have. Tyler was in it, like, ironically.
Oh, which one?
The Rocky Horror Picture Show? I think he was the...
Nope. Which Tyler? Okay. Are we doing last names?
No, I'll bleep it out.
Okay.
I think he was Rocky?
I could see that.
Yeah.
He's always been pretty thin.
Yeah, because he was wearing like gold spandex.
Yeah.
The only reason that Rocky. I was there was because I funded it from the like event planning position, and then OSTEM, the LGBTQ engineers group,
You're just in the owner's box. Goddamn.
I went
monocle, just like this is what we're funding.
I had to go to two separate stores to buy two separate sex stores to buy the correct number of corsets and fishnets.
Boo! Don't be a
show.
prude. Wait, you wiped out Golden of all of its corsets?
Yes, and I had to go into Denver on Santa Fe to the other branch to get the remaining.
There's nothing
quantity.
More harrowing than a bright young college student having to go to the sex shops
of
19 Denver to find corsets.
It was wild.
Which is so funny because the place you really should have gone. Forget all of these 18 and up stores that you wandered into, which, I kind of feel like you saw a window and you took it. You should have just gone to the Wizard's Chest.
I mean, that's, yeah.
The place that does intense Ren Fair outfits.
I tried to order them on Amazon and they didn't come in time or whatever. And so I ended up like literally the day of the performance having to like skip my last class of the day to go to one to pick up like I needed 8. I think I picked up 4 at that place, and they were like, anyway, we don't have 8. So I was like, can you check your other locations? I think it was Fascinations is what it was. And then I had to go to another store to get the remaining.
Sorry, I don't mean to be that girl, but can you have that other store put them on hold until I get there?
I don't think so. I don't think they had enough clientele on a Thursday night to warrant being put on hold. It's fine. I had to drive into Denver during rush hour. I was already anxious.
From what I know about the world, you really messed up that store's algorithms.
Oh yeah, they're
like
it up.
They're like, we doubled our order of corsets for the month of September because apparently that's when they're hot, and they didn't sell like they did last year.
They had them to next September and then the September after.
Well, they don't go bad.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I also had to buy the gold spandex that Tyler wore that night.
So anyway, I went to a movie last night. No, I'm glad you told me every second of that, but it's like, this opportunity's too good.
Where did we go?
Yeah,
no, I get it.
Saw a movie and then went out with our friend Danny, got a chance to catch up with him. I was going to go hang out with Maddie and Maya to go get donuts, but like really the show ended as they were leaving. All of that's to say, I get to Maya's house tonight to film here in the studio, and I go, I slept most of the day today because I didn't get home until like 2 a.m. last night. And Maya was like, 2 a.m.? And for like half a second, I felt like I was telling my mom what I had done.
Well, because he had texted me that he was leaving Rocky Horror Picture Show at like, what, 11:30 or 11 or something like that?
No, like closer to 11:30. Yeah.
Sure. Whatever. I knew it was well before midnight when Voodoo Donuts closed because I was at Voodoo Donuts. And so Grant texted us when he was on his way to his car, and he had texted like 10 minutes prior, 15, 20 minutes prior, like, don't leave, I'm coming to meet you. And I had read that text aloud to the 3 other people that were out with us. And Maddie kind of looked at me and Chase looked at me, the other like girl that was there. And we were like, everyone kind of was like, oh, but we were about to leave.
We don't have another drink. Yeah. Probably not even another 15 minutes.
Yeah. They were like, oh, God. Also, side note from last night, we were at this bar. It's a dive bar, kind of on South Broadway, and me and Maddie were kind of sitting up on this like kind of makeshift stage. It's not really a stage; it's just 2 chairs, a table, and then this lamp that was like a Victorian doll.
Yes. See,
it's like
South Broadway is weird like that.
It is,
sometimes,
and it's
I
like
love that.
I'm not surprised that this doll is a lamp and it's right here, but it is kind of creepy. And I think Chase and I were the right people to be sitting next to it. So imagine the lamp is here, and I would have been Chase and you would be me in this scenario. But I was touching the lamp head that was the hat of this Victorian doll, and then the hat just kind of like fell onto the shoulders of the doll, and Chase and I look at each other and are like,
we broke the creepy Victorian doll.
If we don't fix this before we leave, this doll spirit is following us home. And I had noticed earlier that Chase, whenever she like interacted
Dear
with
Maia
the doll,
and Grant, hi, my name's Chase, and I'm writing about the story I got haunted by a bar ghost.
Literally, whenever Chase and I were like kind of playing with the doll a little bit, like moving because the arms moved and stuff. And every time she kind of interacted with it, we were just like complimenting it, and it was like a joke, but it was also like you could tell that both of us were like, haha, this is funny, but also you look great.
You don't listen. This is you're with us. We're not against you.
Yeah, like we are so on board. Like your dress looks amazing. Let me fix the back for you. And so when the hat fell, both of us were like,
and the head spun around 3 times.
Basically. And so we spent probably like 10 minutes trying to fix the doll. I don't know what Chase was doing. I just kind of like stopped touching it because the second time I touched it, it broke even more. And I was like, I can't. As soon as I like looked at it and was like, oh, this is a really easy fix, I fixed it, and it didn't take long. So like, whatever. It's fine. Anyway, we almost got haunted by this really creepy doll.
And then they left, and I instead got a chance to have some time with Danny, which was great.
And I got...
Yeah, Mom, I didn't break anything.
Here's my tip for every drunk girly out there, according to Maddie, because Maddie came with me to Voodoo Donuts. She didn't get anything. She just came with me to Voodoo Donuts.
That's the wrong thing to do.
For the solidarity, though. She was just there.
I mean, I know it's a parlor, but you need to get donuts there.
It's fine. Whatever. I was just happy that she joined me. I also did this in Vancouver, and I didn't really realize that this is something that I just like do now, is that whenever I'm at a bakery, I will order something for tonight, and I will order something for tomorrow.
Correct. Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Yes.
I ordered Casey's favorite donut that I knew he wanted, because Casey and I have been not on the rocks, but like not talking in a healthy manner for the last 2 weeks because we've been moving. We're getting over it. Everything's fine. Mom and Dad aren't breaking up.
This is coming to me just as much as it's coming to you guys.
Sorry. I've had 2.5 glasses of wine. I've had 3 glasses of wine.
I love how what we could have said it. I've had 2.5 glasses.
As I check my wine glass and it's empty.
I would have told this story. We're going to have singles, so take this to her. Okay. I just would have said something like, oh gosh, like I got Casey a donut because I love him. Something before I paused.
I'm not saying you're wrong. Anyway, my tip is to, if you're getting late night food, get something for tomorrow morning, especially if you're at a bakery, because I woke up this morning when I was watching soccer with Casey and was like, I have a donut. So I woke up at 9:30, which isn't really like early or anything, but I watched the soccer game while I ate this like cream-filled donut and then fell back asleep, and it was sublime.
The last time outside of Vancouver that I really had like a late night snack, I was with Lydia and Jacob, and we went through a McDonald's drive-thru, which like that's how you know we were down bad. Yeah. And Lydia couldn't decide what sandwich she wanted, so she ordered 3: a McChicken, a McDouble, and a fish fillet at midnight. And then we got back to either my house or their house, wherever we were staying, and she takes one bite out of each of them to figure out which one she wants to eat first.
Of course she would.
And of course she would. The picture.
Oh my god.
Anyways. I can show that to you separately.
Yes.
Yeah. Do we need an Am I the Asshole, or how are we?
An hour and a half.
I'm defaulting to you entirely.
Because we're not recording Patreons. Let's do it. Am I the Asshole? Okay, I found one. I haven't actually read it.
Insanely fast.
Well, I searched breakup, and the first one I think I've already read. So,
like on the podcast or in general?
Yeah, I think I've already read it on the podcast.
So we're reading a different one.
We're reading the second one, and the title was intriguing, and it's not super long. So. Okay. Those were the criteria I was looking for.
Let's hear it.
Okay. Am I the asshole for telling my friend she should get over her breakup because it's bringing everyone down?
Ooh, hold on. Okay, interesting.
Yes. Hey, I'm seeking some perspective on a situation that's been bugging me. So my friend Jenny recently went through a breakup, and it's like a broken record that won't stop playing. I've tried to be supportive, but I'm reaching my limit here. We've all been there, girl. For instance, during a movie night, she kept pausing the film to tell us how the movie reminded her of all the good times she had with her ex. I'm going to finish the story before you and I can react on the looks we just gave each other. Okay.
You need to talk about my two front teeth, like, coming out.
Yeah, like, God. Okay. Last week at a coffee shop, she saw a guy who vaguely looked like her ex, and she went into a detailed monologue about all their inside jokes. It's been weeks, and every time we hang out, she can't help but bring up her ex and how sad she is. I finally had enough and straight up told her that she needs to move on already because her negativity is affecting the whole group. I get that breakups are tough, but it's exhausting to constantly hear about it. I suggested she try focusing on the positive aspects of life and maybe find a new hobby to distract herself.
Sorry, did a man post this?
I'm starting to get that impression, yeah. Jenny got super defensive and said that I was being insensitive. I didn't see it that way at all. I'm just tired of her dragging us into her personal drama. Some of our mutual friends are calling me out for being harsh, saying she needs time to heal, but honestly, it's getting old hearing about her breakup all the time. So, am I the asshole for telling Jenny to stop bringing us down with her breakup blues?
Do you want to tell him first about the looks before I start to wade into this a little bit?
As soon as you said something like, I stopped the movie, every time both of us were like, don't you dare stop that movie. If you have the goddamn audacity to take me out of this situation with Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway, I swear to God.
I want you to know I'm actually so fine with you crying during the movie.
Yeah, that's okay.
Even if it's kind of like open mouth cry.
That's fine.
A little bit. But
don't stop it. Don't stop it. We're all in it together. If you stop it, that immediately breaks all of the beautiful art the cinematographers, producers, whatever have put together.
So a clarifying question.
Yes.
Point of information.
Yes.
Does it say how long the relationship had been before they broke up?
It does not.
Mm.
And it doesn't look like... Oh, okay. Someone asked, how long are we talking here for the breakup? Days, weeks, months, years? How long were they together? And OP responded, they broke up about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and she has talked about her partner pretty much most days since they broke up. I don't think they were together for a lot more than a year.
Okay.
A couple months to get over a year-long relationship is still like an adequate amount of time.
So I would actually say, so I'm going to call them not the asshole. That's where I'm going to come in on this, but definitely a little indelicate.
Yeah.
I mean, you're under no one's timeline to get over anything.
True.
And in fact, me and everyone else who listens to Taylor Swift never has. So
I don't even think Taylor Swift is a prerequisite for
exactly.
that.
So you don't have to get over anything that you don't want to, and if something is that emotionally impactful to you, that's totally fine. Like truly, there's no like second half of that sentence. You can just be sad. I think also your friends get a chance to say when they are most readily available to like hear about those emotions. Maybe like time and place, you know?
Yes.
Like you wouldn't talk about this when visiting them at their work, for example.
You wouldn't stop a movie for it.
And maybe that makes us too disassociative and compartmentalized.
But also stop. Who are you to stop the movie for other people? Like, if it's too. Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, it's so funny that you're so much more upset about that than anything else in this
it's
story.
Like actually the only thing I'm upset about. If it's two people and you pause the movie to say something, I get it. Mm-hmm. If it's just you and OP, whatever. If it's like a whole group of you, girl, but. Take away the remote from this person. Ignore them when they say stop the movie. Girl, what? You're inconveniencing a lot of people right now that are all having full and rich lives and are maybe reacting to this in different ways than you. Girl, bye.
You're not a burden. I want to go ahead and make sure that's also pretty clear.
You're not a burden, but stop it.
Yeah, I think okay, so here's an example. One of our dear friends went through a pretty nasty breakup a couple years ago. And as a result, they ended up spending quite a bit of time at my house. And that was wonderful. I offered my house. I gave him a key. I'm like, mi casa, su casa, like as much as you want.
Which they needed.
Correct. At that time. Correct. And I think we do a decent job about showing up for each other. Like as a group, collectively, I think we all do a good job showing up for people.
As a group, though, we also were like, after a certain number of months, we're all like...
There was one day I came home and our friend had been in my house for a while and they were, clearly upset about the situation still. And I remember just looking at them and I was like, I find you in the same place every day. Like I find you in the same and having the same conversations every day. And I'm wondering when you're going to give yourself the chance to see what the second part of that conversation looks like, And like, that's not to say that like you have to be done with this first part of the conversation, but like, I think another step forward, I think you're telling yourself some narratives that are keeping you in this loop. And I think you need to step forward. I don't think that unlocked everything for the friend, but I do think there's gentle ways to be like, I'm making room for your grief here. And I'm also saying, as a person who truly does love and carry you, I want to help carry you into a phase where we can be in a different type of sadness.
It is also hard, especially if it's your first big breakup. You don't actually know how long you're going to need, right? And so sometimes if you're going through the breakup and then people keep kind of responding in like, oh, I'm so sorry, like, how are you? Are you okay? It kind of like, oh, well, I should probably still be sad about this, right? And it takes, sometimes for certain kinds of people, it will take someone being like, okay, well, now's the time to have hot girl breakup summer, Yeah, like we're going to go out and we're going to like figure this out for you. And sometimes that's the cue that at least some of like my girlfriends have needed, like, okay, like, nah.
Right.
We're all hot and we don't need that man, But it's hard to like know how long is a good grieving time, and it's hard to be able to like be that person that's like, get over it.
Because I think what we're both saying is like, obviously love your friends and treat them delicately, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can't at times call them out. Like in one of my most recent breakups, I pretended that I was handling it super well, and then I walked across a ski parking lot barefoot in the middle of winter because I thought calling anyone to come pick me up after returning my skis would make me a burden. And my friend looked at me and was like, hey, that was really stupid what you did. And you are not a burden. And so you should just call. And also by like
was
trying...
it Lydia? Be honest.
Sophie. And so it all is coming to me in Australian too. And she's like, not only was it stupid and you hurt your feet and like legitimately endangered like
yourself,
frostbite at times, it also made it harder to find you. And so like this independence that you're like trying to insist on right now, like
doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Right. It was literally just like, come back to us. Like just fold in. Like
you can rely on us in the way that you relied on your partner.
Else. Right.
Yes,
exactly. Well, not like I could really rely on it, but that's fine until it's done.
Sorry, what did you say? With love, parentheses, name, send text. That's a really deep cut that no one should know because we haven't said that.
No one should know. No. What I will say is this. It's just hard to love someone more than I'm loved by you guys. And that's why I go on a lot of trips.
I drink.
Yeah, we want to start glass number 4 here? What's going on?
No, because I don't finish the bottle.
I love how this is actually a great one to end Scorned Lover on too. We had a couple of different like stories. That's
good. That is
really
a good Scorned Lover one for you, Grant. Anyway.
And actually really, sorry, I know they don't know, so this is unfair to them as our listeners.
Grant had a breakup shortly before the podcast started. And sometimes there are moments where everyone's like, Grant, pull it together.
Like legitimately 2 months before we sat down and recorded the first episode. Maybe less than a month before I actually officially agreed to be in the podcast. We
recorded the first episode around Valentine's Day. Yeah, so it was really close.
But we had agreed to do it before then.
Yes,
and started talking about, and that
before
was like a month after it had happened. And so I like how you started off today's episode being like, yeah, you want to hold my hand? That's fine. I saw you move.
I want to hold my hand.
Thanks.
As you said.
I said, do you want to hold my hand?
No,
and then you just repeated back whatever.
I don't want to hold your hand anymore.
Touch me. We started off this episode with you being like, boy, this podcast has really saved me from a lot of expensive ADD hobbies.
Mead.
And we are ending it with me being like, this podcast really
saved me.
came at a moment when I needed to say something.
That I love myself. I love that. That's so funny.
I do too.
Okay.
Okay, well, this is good. I think this has been a tight hour and a half. Who knows?
Like that. Yeah, hour 40. All right, you can start. You can do the speech.
Oh, fun.
I'll give
Okay.
you that.
Okay, hold on. Well,
It's been a while.
you're still here, so that's hot.
Yeah. Again.
Thank you. Also, you almost never say that's hot. I almost always say hot again.
Yeah.
Because I like to think in the terms of my life that what I find is hot is an ongoing conversation that's never done.
Monet is
I know.
flipping her bed over.
No, can I see her? I can see you seeing her, and I can see no one seeing me.
Get a small dog. That's all I can say.
On social media, we are Well I Laughed Podcast. We have a website, which is great, Well I Laughed Podcast. We are available
wellilaughed.com.
wherever you get your podcast.
Something like that. Yeah.
If you would like to watch us,
Please rate us also. by
Oh,
the
are
way.
we? Yeah. Is we back to that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I mean, we should always be saying that, and I
Rate
always
us.
forget.
Sorry, I say this to the kids whenever they say something corny and it drives them crazy. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
And the screen's going to show you just a quick question, if you don't mind.
Starts at 25.
Which is at Patreon, and it's Well I Laughed Podcast.
I thought I could do the speech.
Okay,
No,
sorry.
I'm kidding. This is good. It's always Well I Laughed Pod at gmail.com.
Okay,
Goodbye.
love you.
That was the worst sign off we've done.